the prototype of the civet for the prince.
Liu Yi, Queen of Zhao Heng, King Zhenzong the Song Dynasty. Liu Yi was born in 968 and was originally from Taiyuan. Her grandfather, Liu Yanqing, served as the general of the Jin. It is said that Liu Tong's wife, Pang, dreamed that the moon was in her arms,
and soon became pregnant and gave birth to her second daughter, Liu Yi. However, this girl was born in a dream of the moon, and she was born in a dream of the moon, and she was born in a dream of the moon. However, the fate of the girl born from the dream of the moon did not seem promising.
Soon after her birth, Liu Tong was ordered to go on a military expedition, and unexpectedly, he was killed in battle. Liu Tong had no son to inherit the family business, and the family fell into poverty. So Pang had to take her infant daughter to her mother's house.
Liu Yi was not well off in her grandfather's house, and although she could read and write, she never enjoyed the life of a young lady.
But she did learn to make a living by playing the drums and was good at speaking drum lyrics. The Pang family's attitude toward the granddaughter of this foster family was just a bowl of rice to support life. Liu had just grown up, and the Pang family could not wait to marry the 13 or 14-year-old Liu to a young silversmith named Gong Emei.
Wanting to make a living, Gong Emei took Liu to the capital city of Kaifeng.
However, business was not good, and he tried to sell Liu Yi when he was desperate. One day, Zhao Heng, then the magistrate of Kaifeng equivalent to the capital city's mayor,
asked Gong Emei to make jewelry at his residence.
Zhao Heng had long wanted to take a woman as a concubine, and when he saw Liu Yi, he fell in love with her, and took her as his concubine.
Liu Yi was not only naturally beautiful, but also intelligent and clever,
and quite won the heart of Zhao Heng, and the two of them were like glue, inseparable.
When Taizong discovered this, he was furious and ordered Zhao Heng to expel Liu Yi from the house. Zhao Heng could not let go of Liu, so he secretly put Liu Yi in the house of Zhang Qian, a staff member. Zhang Jie arranged for his family to take good care of Liu Yi. He slept in the Xianwang mansion daily to avoid suspicion, unnecessary suspicion, and even the danger of being killed. In the following days, Zhao Heng's title was promoted, and he was burdened with more and more affairs. However, whenever he could, he tried to go to Zhang Qian's house to meet with Liu Yi. This kind of secretive life lasted for 15 years in total. Later, when Zhao Heng became the king, he did not forget Liu Yi, took her to the palace, and named her Beauty. When she lived in the Zhang residence, she studied books, calligraphy, painting, chess and music, and became a woman of outstanding talent to dispel her loneliness and sadness. Liu Yi's status in the palace continued to rise, and in 1012 she was promoted to concubine D. At that time, Queen Guo had already passed away, and Liu Yi was the most powerful woman in the harem, just one step away from the throne of the queen. Liu Yi was not only gentle and beautiful, but she was also compassionate, had a good knowledge of books and history, and was very knowledgeable about state affairs. When King Zhenzong was reviewing his writings, Liu Yi often accompanied him. Whenever there was a problem, Liu Yi could always provide appropriate advice and gain the trust of King Zhenzong. King Zhenzong wanted to appoint Liu Yi as his queen, but he knew her birth was the biggest obstacle. He could not decide, so he approached Zhao Anren, the counselor of political affairs, to discuss the matter. Because of Liu Yi's humble background, Zhao Anren was against the idea of appointing her as the queen, and suggested that Consort Sheng should be appointed as the queen. The next day, he went to Wang Qinru to discuss the matter, and told him Zhao Anren's opinion. Wang Qinru said, "Even if your majesty did not tell me, I knew that would say so because Zhao Anren used to be Shen Yuelan's client." True father felt that Zhao Anren had shown favoritism, so he dismissed him from his post and decided to make Liu Yi the queen. However, Liu Yi was very cautious, and when King Zhenzong decided to appoint her as the queen, Chancellor Wang Dan suddenly took sick leave. Liu Yi was worried about Wang Dan's opposition and persuaded King Zhenzong to postpone the appointment. Later, Wang Dan submitted a letter to the king agreeing to make Liu Yi the queen, and the matter was finalized. On the 24th day of the 12th month of the 5th year of Dozhong Xiangfu, Liu Yi was finally crowned queen. In 1020 AD,
King Zhenzong was ill for a long time, and Queen Liu examined and answered most of the minister's papers. Liu Yi's rise from silversmith's wife to queen of a country was not solely due to her beauty.
At this time, Liu Yi was already over 40 years old, long past her prime, and what attracted King Zhenzong was her wisdom and ability. The wise and capable Liu Yi handled the affairs of the harem in a well-organized manner and also helped the king in his administration.
True father trusted this companion for many years and even relied on her a little.
When True Father's health deteriorated, it was only natural that Liu Yi
helped her husband with the day-to-day affairs of the court and ruled on military matters. In addition, Liu Yi's ex-husband, Gong Emei, stayed with the king after he offered his wife and worked for him. After the reign of King Zhenzong, Gong Emei changed his surname to Liu and became Liu's brother and sister. Although the king favored Liu Yi, she did not give birth to a son or daughter.
Coincidentally, the king took a liking to a maid in Liu Yi's palace.
Li Chenfei, a Hangzhou native, who was only in her teens when she entered the palace, was Queen Liu's maid and was a dignified and quiet person who later became the king's secretary of the bedchamber. King Zhenzong favored Li and gave birth to a son in 1010 AD.
At that time, Liu Yi had not yet been named queen, and in her 40s, probably knowing that she would never have another child. She accepted Li's child and raised it with another concubine, Yang, forbidding the palace staff to tell the truth about the child.
King Zhenzong favored Liu Yi so much that he allowed her to keep Li's son.
The clever Queen Liu realized how important her son was to her, and whether she was sincere or not, she acted as a good mother and carefully nurtured Zhao to benefit her son. The relationship between mother and son was excellent. The prince called Liu Yi Great Mother and Yang, Little Mother, since he was a child,
believing that Queen Liu was his real mother, but he did not know the truth until after Liu Yi's death.
The opera, The Civet Cat for the Crown Prince, is based on this period of history.
1022 AD, the condition of King Zhenzong deteriorated drastically.
On the 20th, he died at the palace of Yanqing at 55. Prince Zhao assumed the throne.
His posthumous edict stipulated that he would honor Queen Liu as the Queen Dowager, and that she would handle military and state affairs on behalf of King Zhenzong until he reached the age of majority.
Zhao was only 13 years old when he succeeded to the throne, and the ministers asked Queen Dowager Liu to rule the court. Whenever the court, Zhenzong sat on the left side, Queen Liu sat on the right side. For military and state affairs, Queen Liu single-handedly ruled.
She dealt with sensitive, strict orders, grace and power, but was also quite capable of self-restraint. Therefore,
in her curtain of 11 years, the political affairs were handled in a well-organized manner.
Liu Yi ruled the country with strict orders, rewards and punishment. Although she inevitably showed some favoritism to her family members, she did not condone their interference in the government. She respected the opinions of scholars and officials when it came to right and wrong.
Wang Seng, Zhang Zibai, Liu Yijian, and Liu Zongdao were all reappointed by her.
And Liu Yi's in-laws did not do anything harmful to the country. Liu Yi had assisted King Zhenzong in his administration for many years, and was deeply touched by the fact that the courtiers had formed a clique and the officials were not peaceful. She knew that she was old and the king was young, and such a situation
could easily be exploited by the ministers who had some plans, so she used a ploy.
After the burial of King Zhenzong, Liu Yi picked a suitable time and said to the ministers in a very earnest manner, "Nowadays, the affairs of the country are in flux, and the king and I can only be where we are today
thanks to the help of all of you, and I am grateful for that.
You can submit the names of your family members to me, or all of them will be employed so that we can enjoy the imperial favor together."
The ministers were happy to hear this and reported all the names of their relatives they could think of. Queen Dowager Liu recorded all these names, and after that, whenever she encountered any recommended officials, she took them to check.
And only those who were not on the list could get the opportunity to be promoted,
thus avoiding the possibility of the courtiers weaving the net of power.
Queen Liu also listened to Prime Minister Lv Yijin's urging to bury Zhenzong Zhaozhen's birth mother, Jinfei Li, with generous gifts.
When Jinfei Li gave birth to Zhao, she was taken away by Queen Liu, and taken as her son, who was nurtured and cared for by concubine Yang. In the face of such a blow, Li did not dare to speak, only secret tears.
They usually refrained from speaking with the king and queen.
Only the concubines and courtesans were in the group of silence.
After the death of King Zhenzong, Queen Dowager Liu Li saw her son
on the throne of the king's half-life, but did not dare to go to recognize each other.
Soon, Li from Wan Yi into the position of Shangrong. Although the level of promotion, she was ordered to go to Gong County and serve Yongding Mausoleum.
It was equivalent to being sent to the Cold Palace, where she would spend her days guarding the silent mausoleum.
In 1032 AD, the wind and rain of the mausoleum area sent away 46 years of her short life.
Until then, King Zhaozhen still did not know that the courtesan who had just died was his biological mother.
Mrs. Liu originally intended to bury Li, who had been promoted to Chunfei when she was critically ill as a courtesan. Still, she was advised by Prime Minister Li Yijian to bury her as a queen. Li was buried in Hongfu Temple in the northwest suburb of Tokyo, now Kaifeng City. So the funeral of Li Fei was done in a highly grand manner. In 1033 AD, Queen Dowager Liu died of illness, and only then did a minister divulge the truth to King Zhaozhen.
Queen Dowager Liu was not His Majesty's real mother.
But His Majesty's real mother was Consort Li Tianfei, and she died a pitiful death. After hearing this, Zhaozhen uttered a loud cry, and someone else
said, the death of Qinfei Li was unexplained, and the cause of death was suspicious, meaning that Queen Dowager Liu murdered her.
So Zhaozhen personally Hongfu Temple opened the coffin inspection and saw Qinfei wearing a phoenix crown, a cape, hundreds of clothes, completely queen's attire, under the care of Mercury. The body does not rot, and the face is like light.
Only then released everyone the suspicion of Queen Dowager Liu. Thanks to the tie of Li Yijian, Queen Dowager Liu put forward on the burial of Li Chenfei's advice. Zhaozhen sighed significantly, but thought Queen Dowager Liu alone to raise and protect the grace. From then on, the family of Queen Dowager Liu was treated more favorably. His mother, Li Chenfei, under the posthumous title Shang Yi Queen, was buried in Yongding Mausoleum.
Although his mother was buried, but failed to dilute the infinite guilt of King Zhaozhen to Li,
he must let his mother enjoy the name that had not been given before.
After a heated debate at the court, the first queen of the real king, Hua, was placed in the Imperial Temple,
and a separate Fengqi temple was built to honor Liu and Li.
Liu was posthumously named Queen Dowager Xuanxia Mingxu, and Li was posthumously named Queen Dowager Xuanyi.
The establishment of Fengqi Temple finally established the status of King Zhaozhen's birth mother.
Also, it represented the young King Zhaozhen's growing political maturity, and his gradual escape from the shadow of Queen Dowager Liu.